Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hang with Mangg. Feels like I just did a Hanging with Mangg, but here we are again, another week gone by. And we are playing the Monster Hunter World Iceborne beta, which I released a video on the other day, and it's really good. It's really good. I'm very excited for the full release in September. You know, I'll have to take a break from WoW Classic when it comes out, but that's okay. It's gonna be good. You know, the new region seems pretty exciting. New monsters gonna be awesome. Like Glavenus and Elatrion and shit is gonna be in the game. That's wild. And then all the master rank, you know, G rank stuff. We're gonna have some good times. The only bummer is that it's on PS4. But nothing I can do about that. So
We've received eyewitness
this
reports
week,
about target
I continued the saga
discovered species with gigantic horns. The commission wants
of
to track it down and hunt it
purchasing a
within the allotted
condo,
time.
which has been, I mean, it's not been a fun process, I'll say that. Seller is a real piece of work, as they say. But I think we're closing in, and we're getting to the point soon where it's going to be smooth sailing. So that's good. You know, my realtor really is not crazy about this place, and has mentioned a couple times, like, oh, you know, you could still walk away, you know, we could still look somewhere else. And it's like, yeah, except, you know, she's not like showing me other places, because there really isn't any other places. So pretty much it would just be like, you walk now, and then you just sit for like a month or something until something else pops up, and then who knows how much better that'll be, if at all. So this is a condo that I am happy with, and I'm willing to put up with some bullshit in the purchasing process, because I know in a couple of years I'll be happy with this place, and I'm not gonna care about what went down. So my realtor's just gotta put up with it. And, you know, I've already started like picking out
Land your claw on a monster to grapple to it.
decorations and stuff like that.
Use the slinger with your weapon drawn. Look for the perfect moment, then fire. Look out.
Like posters and stuff like that. I want to do like I want to have like one big poster for every series that I've covered. So I think that's kind of nice. That's a good way to decorate. And so I was picking out posters for like the Cthulhu mythos and Lord of the Rings and Celtic mythology and stuff. And some of it is like art that I used in a bunch of videos, and some of it's just cool stuff that I found. And then there's going to be a bunch of other posters. It's going to be a very poster heavy decoration condo thing. It's just funny, like my parents, you know, they own an art company.
Now's your chance. Your weapon is losing its
But
charge.
it's
Move some distance and then use a wetsuit.
very like
It's better to hold on to your claw until things calm down a bit.
middle-aged mom HGTV sort of art and decoration
Is on the move. Use this slinger as
with
a
like
sword.
inspirational sayings and you know, nature
Oh boy.
silhouette, you know, crap like that.
Really mad now.
And so,
Be ready for some vicious attacks.
you know, this house that I've been living in my whole life, I've had to deal with all that shit on the walls throughout the whole house forever. So now I'll have maybe like one picture like that in my bathroom or something, in the guest bathroom. But the rest of it's all just gonna be like Dark Souls posters and Norse mythology shit and Warhammer 40K. My whole condo is gonna be like a teenager's bedroom, basically. So that's all been very cool. And I've got, you know, all sorts of plans coming together. I'm gonna finally invest in a projector. I've never had a projector before. Oh, fuck. Forgot to change the fucking radial menu. I don't know why they still have this as the default. It's so bad. But I'm gonna have a finished basement at the condo, and there's just a big empty wall, and I was like, I could just have like a little movie theater room here. That would be pretty sweet. So I'm excited, I guess. I'm excited about stuff. It's just still so far away. I mean, end of August seems... It's as far away as WoW Classic. Aside from that, though... I guess let's move on. exploring series, we had the Eye in the Eye of the Beholder,
Look, the monster's almost done for. Chances are it'll retreat to its nest to recuperate.
which was not my highest viewed video of all
If you run
time,
out of stamina, you'll be winded and vulnerable.
to say the
Let
least.
hunters know to always keep an eye on that gauge.
I think it was fairly well received by those that did watch it. I just have no idea what makes my viewers watch a video or not. I don't know. And the author of that SCP was very happy with it, which is good. I mean, I don't usually get that sort of feedback from the author, but it's nice to know that I'm doing things justice and not shitting all over their creation. I also released a video on the Inquisition in Warhammer 40k, which was also not viewed too much for whatever reason. Funnily enough, one of my most viewed videos, like hour over hour of the past few weeks, has been my creating a Space Marine video. Like, that video is over like 450,000 views now, which is pretty wild. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have that many likes on it that I would want. So there are plenty of people interested in that topic, and then they click on the video, and then presumably they click off. So I guess it's not that good, but it's better than no views, I suppose. This week I worked on the first part of the Ouroboros cycle, which right now in my head is a 5-part series, 5-part mini-series. We'll see exactly how that pans out. The thing is, like, the first 3 parts of the cycle are very sort of straightforward. They're pretty much just 001 proposals. And then the 4th part, which is basically how he tied it all together, is in this 4th part. Like, they're pretty much 3 standalone proposals, and then he's like, oh, here's this 4th part, and look, it's all connected somehow. The 4th part is just this massive... I don't want to say clusterfuck, because there is some rhyme and reason to it, but it is just a massive collection of basically tales. Oh, there are the penguins, by the way. It's just a massive collection of pretty much tales involving all these overseers, and it's just this, it's like a novella, really. There's really not like much SCP, like an SCP object really to it. So I don't know how well those parts are going to be received. That's probably what I'm going to have to break into 2 parts. Yeah, I don't know. It's thick. It's thick.
That's not our target. We gotta stay focused on what's important.
But now my other concern is like when you do a mini series, there's no real way outside of some fluke that part 5 of that mini series is going to get as many views as part 1. It's just, you know. And so that's why I've always shied away from doing like multi-part videos, because I try to condense everything into one. But there's no real way I could do that here.
Mitigates damage. And
Not without cutting out way too much to make it just stupid.
yeah, you've mounted the monster. Now's your chance to topple it.
So we'll see how it all goes. The first part was fine. I mean, like I said, it's pretty much a standalone proposal. So it wasn't like too complicated. Who put? Oh, that Grimal can put down a shock trap. I should probably drop down instead of sitting here.
Okay, it's down. Now's your chance to get in there and tear it up.
So that was that. Over on this channel,
That's a piercing pot. A powerful type of slinger ammo. It makes it easier to target obscure weaknesses.
we had Final Fantasy Tactics. We had the Iceborne beta video. Super Metroid finished. That was stupid. And that's where we stand. Final Fantasy Tactics has like 4 more parts. And then we're starting Sinking City this week, which should be a ball of fun.
Never underestimate an angry monster. Keep your distance and watch for a safe opening.
And that's pretty much it. I don't know why I'm trying to fight a Tigrex while doing Hang with Mangg. I really shouldn't be. But we're here now. And so I guess that's all there is to say about the channels. Nothing especially exciting this last week. And this coming week, hopefully the Sinking City is good. I'm hoping it's really, really good and gets popular, and I put out a Cthulhu Mythos video about it. But that's like a pipe dream, I think. But we'll see. Started playing some Netrunner again. I wish I had a bunch of friends that were really into that game, you know? But like all that talk about how much they want to play board games, but where's the love for Netrunner? That's what I want to know. And I guess let's move on. I know I'm very, very distracted. After 200 and however many fucking episodes, you think I would know better than to do something like fighting a T-Rex during hanging with Mangg. But here we are. I can't help myself. So, role Mangging, we started up Sprawl campaign. 5 players. Five-player Sprawl. Never been done before.
Okay, the monster's tired. Now's your chance to
And Ziggy decided to switch things up this time. Campaign is called Friends in High Places. The reason for that is because... Nice. We are working for a corporation. And so we're like a troubleshooting team working for a corporation. And so we get sent into different locations with different levels of operational freedom and different objectives and different jurisdictions, things like that. So our first mission sent us to Egypt, to Cairo.
Sending a monster flying into a wall will leave it wide open to attack.
And our objective was basically to solve a mystery. There is a research and development facility down in Cairo belonging to this corporation. And someone had stolen data about some new project that they were working on. And what's more is
Making you invulnerable.
to do this
It has healing properties too.
to do this data theft, they had removed a bunch of these firewalls on the system. And so the corporation suspects that... Damn. I'm still... What the fuck? That's new. Oh my god, he resurrected me. Jesus Christ. Corporation suspected that there was an inside man on this job. So they have some sort of traitor. And we were sent in. So this is a corporation investigating itself, basically. But we were sent in with a cover story that we were like an assessment crew. So we were, we were meant to be like unarmed, and we had full clearance to, check around the building, talk to the employees to figure out, how they're doing on the job and how they're feeling about the job. Talk to the managers, assess any sort of problems that we see with the facility itself. Just the corporation checking in on itself. That was the cover story we had, so that we had full clearance and no one suspected us of really specifically investigating this data leak, even though that's what we were doing. And so my first thought was, okay, we get there and we just lock down the whole facility. Just lock it down. If the trader's in there, we'll suss them out. If not, well, then we know, and we can check, like, employee records, see who was there that night and isn't here now, and blah, blah, blah. See if anyone else that is there knows anything. Blah, 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 blah. That was my first thought. But we talked it out. We had a conversation. I listened to what the crew had to say, and I changed my mind. I think that's a sign of personal growth. I think that's good. The reason I changed my mind is because we had this cover story. And while we have the cover story, we might as well use it to our advantage. We might as well be the wolf in sheep's clothing. So we decided to go in there with the cover story and sort of split up, go around to the different departments, and see what we can find out. See what we can suss out. Either somewhat discreetly, maybe somewhat a little bit more blatantly. A couple of the players declared some contacts that worked in the building conveniently. And so they could talk a little bit more openly with them because these contacts that they knew probably knew them as like troubleshooters and not as an assessment crew, because that was just a one-time cover story. So they couldn't really fool them, but they were acquaintances. So we arrived in Cairo.
That gradually restores your health when you stand in its smoke.
And as we go to the hotel, there's like a big protest going on. In this setting that Ziggy has concocted, Egypt is owned by the New British Empire, or something like that. And so there's a sort of a rebellion group, or terrorists, as I'm sure we would refer to them. I meant we as in, like, our characters working for this corporation. Not we as in Mangg. You know what I'm saying. So, there's this rebellious group known as the Sons of the Pyramid.
See how it went flying?
That are protesting these big corporations coming into Egypt instead of just keeping it sort of keeping things local as it was.
All right, you completed the quest. Congrats.
That was actually a better time than my last kill from last night. So I guess being distracted worked out. All right, let me talk. Oh, apparently I'm dropping massive amounts of frames. Huh. It's internet connection. Shit. My new condo has access to some much faster internet, like 5 times faster. So that's pretty exciting too. I don't know. It's in the red. I'm dropping frames nonstop. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I don't know if that affects my voice. That's all that really matters. What is going on with this internet connection? It's bouncing all over the place. Am I like downloading porn in the background? What is going on? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, I'll just hope. I just hope that you can hear me in the video after the stream is done. That's all I can hope for. Anyway, so there was this protest going on by the Sons of the Pyramid, or Sons of the Pyramids, out in front of our hotel. And so there was like total gridlock. We couldn't get our vehicles over to the hotel. And these protesters were starting to go through the gridlock and like shaking all these vehicles that looked like they did not belong to Egyptians. And of course, our big van, our corporate van, did not look like it belonged. So they started rocking it back and forth. So I get out, and they ask me like, "Oh, are you with the corporation?" And I'm like, "No, no." And they're like, "Okay," and they move on. So they're pretty gullible, I guess. I think we probably looked pretty corporate, but okay. But they get over to Phil's car, and he mentions that he's like wearing a suit or something like that. So he looks just straight up corporate. And so they're really like trying to knock over his car. They're like trying to reach in and pull him out of the car. It does not look good for old Philly Dilly. So I tried to discreetly fire a gas grenade into that little crowd, which partially works. I mean, the gas grenade does go in. It does clear things out. It does save Phil. But unbeknownst to me at the time, some of the locals did see me do this. And so they were on my case later on. But for now, we were fine. We got into the hotel. And we were supposed to meet with this contact. He texts us and he's like, oh, I can't make it. I'm sending this other guy. This Ghazi guy. And we were like, oh boy, this does not sound good. So I decide I'm not going to sit at the table with them. I sit at some other booth with my laptop. And this guy arrives and I start hacking his phone. I don't really find anything incriminating or anything. But I do put a GPS tracker on it just so we know. We get the details of the mission. We head over into the facility right away. It's like evening. It's like 6 o'clock, but we go over there right away. Because our first thought was like, oh, well, we'll just get Artemis in and he'll install some keyloggers on like the IT computers. And so then we can see if anyone, is sending something they shouldn't be. The keyloggers will tell us. But it became like everyone wanted to be involved. So we pretty much all went in. And we split up. Most of us did not find much. But I went over into the IT area. I was talking to the head of the department there. He didn't really say anything. There were 2 staff members. There were 2 IT members there when we arrived. They were also there at the time of the data breach. So that was interesting. I went over to there was one with an Egyptian sounding name and there was one with a British sounding name. And so I think we're pointing towards the Sons of the Pyramid as being responsible for this. So yes, I profiled. And so I went and interrogated the Egyptian person. I'm sorry. And so I talked to her about the data breach. I was very direct and blatant about it. I dropped the cover story. I was just like, I'm from corporate. We're investigating this. Tell me about this data breach. And I was like, I had already gleaned some info from like the servers about her file. So I was like, you have family in Alexandria, correct? So blah, blah, blah. Tell me about this data breach. She did not claim at all to be involved, but she suspected, potentially, that she knew a couple people that might have been involved. One of them was part of, like, the research staff that was currently quarantined because, there's a data breach. These guys know about this project, so they're not allowed to leave. The other one she suspected was the guy that told us about the mission, whose phone I hacked. She said he has a brother that's in deep with the Sons of the Pyramid. She also said that he apparently has been trying to talk his brother out of that group, but I stopped listening at that point. So I'm like, okay, it's this Ghazi guy. It's gotta be. So he became suspect number 1. We left the facility, and I had installed that GPS tracker on his phone, remember? That was pretty good. And so we tracked him to a nightclub. We went over to the nightclub, and we were going to try and, like, when I had first hacked his phone, Ziggy was like, oh, he has some text messages that are encrypted. You'll have to make another roll in order to read them. And at the time, I thought it was with, like, text messages with his wife. And I was like, whatever. At the time, he didn't seem that dangerous. But now I was like, oh, he's got some encrypted text message. We gotta read those. So I had to go back and hack his phone. So the plan was to just sort of like sit in the booth next to him. And hack his phone. But when we sat in the booth next to him, he apparently saw us. And I think this was a problem of us not asking for the right amount of details when Ziggy is explaining an area. When I think of like a restaurant booth, you know, I would think, okay, it's very easy for someone to notice someone sitting in the next booth. You know, you could easily recognize them. But when I think of like a nightclub booth, not from personal experience, of course, but from in a movie, a nightclub booth, it's very dark, it's very loud in there, and generally the booths have much higher sidings, and so you can't see anyone in the next booth over. That's usually how I picture it. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, that's not the way it was. That's not what Ziggy was picturing. I should have asked for details. I'm not blaming him. This is just what I pictured in my head, and that was not correct. So as soon as we sat down, he's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? So, you know, we were just like, oh, you know, we're taking a break, and he invited us over to his booth, and we sat in his booth. So we're sitting in his booth. I have my laptop out, and I'm hacking his phone right in front of him. I do get to see some text messages between him and his brother. His brother is in deep with the Sons of the Pyramid, but he himself does not seem to be involved and just wants to get his brother out. So this pretty much clears Ghazi as far as most of us are concerned. But his brother could still be responsible, because his brother cannot be happy with this guy working in R&D for the Corp. Ugh. And so his brother could be working with the guy in R&D. They could be working together as part of the Sons of the Pyramid. So what I tried to do, I tried to send a text message from his phone to his brother, asking him to like meet up somewhere that night. Like, oh, hey, bro, we gotta meet up. I got something to discuss with you about Sons of the Pyramid. That was the goal. And then we go to this meetup and we jump this guy, and it would have been awesome. Unfortunately, I failed the roll. That sucked. So, fortunately, he didn't like realize it was me doing the hacking. He's just like, oh, someone's trying to hack my phone. I gotta get out of here. So he walks. I'm pissed, but I still want to get his phone to send this text message to his brother. So I tell Studs, who is our infiltrator, I'm like, look, you gotta follow this guy, get his phone. And he's like, I'm not a pickpocket. I'm like, well, fine, then you're gonna have to go into his apartment or whatever while he's sleeping and grab his phone off his nightstand. Whatever. Get his phone. And like, I'm like, you know, I'll go with, you know, I can maybe disable some electronic locks or something like that. But we got to get that phone. So the others all pretty much go back to the hotel. Studs and I step outside and go over to the van. And that's when I get jumped by a group of locals with the Sons of the Pyramid that saw me shoot that gas grenade. So they jump me with machetes. And I activate the bear immediately, but it takes apparently 8 years to come out of the van. And so by that time, they've already started hacking into me with machetes. And so I don't suffer like fatal injuries or anything like that, but I do get injured by some machetes. And then the bear shoots them all in the kneecaps. So none of them die, but they learned a lesson. But it also sort of tipped my hand a little too soon. These are Sons of the Pyramid. They know we've got some bear. We're working for some big corp. It's not a good thing that happened. All because I had to save Phil's life. I should have just watched as he got pulled apart in the street. So because of that, I wasn't in any situation to go help with this this heist at this guy's apartment. So I went back to the hotel and started drinking. Studs continued on following this guy. And this is something, you know, that I like to do. I generally think of it as a positive thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I continue to keep doing it, especially in Sprawl. I will give players, you know, I'll sort of have a big picture in mind, and I'll come up with different ideas. I like doing that. But I'll compartmentalize it and give different players different tasks without, like, clear instructions on how to do that task. You know? Because you know, if it were me and someone had a big idea of what to do and they gave me a task as part of that big idea, that big plan, I wouldn't want them to tell me exactly how to do it. Just say, go do this. And then it's like, okay, it's up to me. You know, it's your time in the spotlight, basically. And I think that's important for everyone to have their time in the spotlight. So I try to promote that. The problem is, whenever I put people in the spotlight like this, they tend to fuck things up. So I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but I keep doing it because I think it's a good thing. So, you know, I told Studs, just get the phone. That's it. That's the simple task. Maybe not so simple, but get the phone. So he tracks this guy down to his apartment. He was wearing like a stealth suit, like a corporate issue military grade stealth suit. And he walks in the front lobby. Okay, sort of defeats the purpose of the stealth suit. And he talks to the concierge or whatever, the guy at the front desk, wearing his stealth suit. Okay, sort of defeats the purpose of the stealth suit. So we started imagining it as basically like a gimp suit. I don't know how accurate that is. And he tells the guy that he's meeting a lady friend, and he's just gonna head on up. And the guy's like, "Oh well, let me buzz you up and let her know." So he gets caught in his lie, and he's like, "Oh, this is like a, you know, she's expecting me. You know, it's just a romantic thing. You don't have to do that." He's like, "I really can't let you up without, you know, buzzing the room." And so then Studs tries to pivot the lie and say, "Well, it's not a lady friend. It's actually a guy, Mr. Ghazi, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to keep this on the down low. So just let me just go up there." And he's like, I can't really do that. And he buzzes the guy's room. He said, you know, he's like, "Mr. Ghazi, you have a visitor." And Ghazi's like, "Okay, send him up." So Studs goes up in the elevator. I think he goes to like a floor above him or something like that. And he goes up to the roof, and he comes to an electronic lock on the roof access. And so he calls me up and he's like, "Can you hack this?" And I'm like, "Okay, plug your comm link into the lock." Because I based pretty much everything off Shadowrun, and in Shadowrun, every single device has a universal connection port. So he plugs his comm link into the lock. I remote hack it. It opens, but it also notifies the police. So he didn't get exactly what he wanted, but I was injured and drunk, so give me a break. So he goes up on the roof, and he's walking around up there, and then he sees the police coming. And so rather than just hiding out on the roof in his military grade stealth suit, he decides to completely abort. He goes down the fire escape, and he just leaves and goes back to the hotel. And so that's the thing. You know, it's like, I want people to be in the spotlight and all that. I want them to have their moment. But if you're just gonna fuck it up and completely abort after like a half-hearted attempt, I feel like I have to give you more instructions on how to do this task. Because, I mean, it was just get the phone. That was it. And he pretty much completely bungled it, and now we don't have any phone. So, I don't know what to say about that. But that's pretty much where we left off. I still want to get the phone. We still haven't conclusively locked anything down about who's responsible for this data breach. But we also haven't killed anyone yet, so that's good. But alright, I'm dropping just inordinate amount of frames. I don't know why. I don't know if it affects my audio, but I'll keep it safe. I'll play it safe, and I'll end off here. So check out the first part of the Ouroboros cycle tomorrow.